The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. This is Comfortably Zoned Radio, and it's time for Dodgers baseball, a tale of two cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. My name is Peter Trunk, and my co-host, as always, is Ron Rabinovitz. Ron, how do you feel?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks, Peter. I'm feeling better.
All right. Ron is on the mend. He's still on the DL, but, he's a tough old guy, and he's going to do the show tonight. Our other host, Fred Wallen, is not available tonight. He's on assignment. But lo and behold, we have a guest that knows his way around these parts as well as we do. He's on a lot, and he is a super Dodger fan. He is a Brooklyn Dodger and Los Angeles Dodger fan and historian, good friend of the show, good friend on social media, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bernie Rose. Bernie, how are you?
Doing just fine, guys. Doing fine.
Hi,
Glad
Bernie.
to see you. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Bernie. How
We're
you
back
doing,
to commiserate, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, tonight's show, as everyone can guess, you don't have to be Einstein to guess, it's going to be a postmortem on the 2018 season and postseason and World Series for our beloved boys in blue, the Dodgers. And I'm going to just start off with a little background. Everyone knows what happened. The Dodgers had a very strange season this season in that I personally didn't really believe that they were strong enough or good enough to win the division, which they did, surprisingly, on not only the last day of the season, but an extra day, a 163rd game of the season. They actually did come out on top in the National League West, and then proceeded to win in the postseason to advance once again for the first time since 1977/78, and before that, 1952 and 53, to be in the World Series for a second straight year. And they were lucky or unlucky enough to draw as an opponent the best team in baseball, the Boston Red Sox. And the series didn't last too long. In fact, it only lasted 5 games. The Red Sox prevailed. The Red Sox are champions. I'm sure I can speak for my two people tonight, my partner and my guest, in congratulating the Red Sox on their victory, and also
Absolutely.
congratulating our Dodgers on another fine baseball season. I mean, if you're just going to go by results, they did have pretty good results. I mean, to hit the World Series 2 times in a row, you got to have something going for you.
Absolutely.
I will start the show off with a controversial statement, and this is my statement. My statement is that the only games that the Dodgers won actually helped the Red Sox to win the World Series. The Dodgers went 18 innings in Game 4 and won it in the bottom of the 18th inning to beat the Red Sox. But right-hander named Eovaldi for the Red Sox pitched 6 innings, 97 pitches, pitched his heart out in relief, and actually psyched up the Red Sox so much that after the game in their clubhouse, as I understand it, they were actually hooping, whooping, dancing, and hollering that Eovaldi had shown them the way to be ultimately the victors. And, of course, the next night they were the victors. The next night, the Dodgers were ahead 4-0 in the 7th inning. Rich Hill was spinning a one-hit shutout. And I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm speaking to my guest and my partner and the listening audience. But as the game goes on, there is something or someone or somehow they keep adjusting what the percentage is of your chances to win the game. And according to this new statistic, in the seventh inning, the Dodgers were 94.7%. They had a 94.7% chance of victory. After Hill came out of the game, and in came the relief pitcher who gave up a 3-run homer to make it 4-3. After the 3-run homer, the Dodgers were favored 78% to win the game. And let me just say before I give up the mic, which I will give up gladly now, the Dodgers this season, the whole season, take the whole season into consideration, regular season game, postseason game, and World Series games, when the Dodgers were ahead 4-0 or more, when the Dodgers were ahead in the game, at any point in any game, they were 57-0. 57 times they were ahead by 4 or more runs. They won every single game. Not so much the deciding game this year. And now I just want to give it up, and let's be gentlemen, Ronnie, if you don't mind, let our guest get some things off his chest. Bernie Rose, go ahead. Go ahead, Bernie.
Well, you're right. I knew that statistic. And, and we were messaging while all this was going on, and we could see it happening. We could feel it right through the phone. It was just, well, for Dodger fans, it certainly was the worst of all. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
That's right.
That's how else are you going to put it? I will say this. It sunk in a little bit. I'm not as outraged. We were outraged that Roberts was making these moves. And, maybe I'm still not 100% sure the front office wasn't involved in some of those moves. But, 50, I thought it was 54-0, but if it's 57-0, that's even worse. That they would lose that game. And you knew it was over, but this is what I've come to realize. We knew all season long, Peter and Ron, we talked about it, and most of the time through the season, we never thought we'd get back to the World Series, but we kept saying, the Red Sox or the Astros are going to kill these guys.
Yeah, we did.
How many times did we say that?
Yes, we did.
A lot. To the consternation of other Dodger fans who will remain nameless. A few other Dodger fans, when we were making these comments throughout the entire summer, got a little bit teased at us and was instructing us and preaching to us and imperiously, almost pompously scolding us as if we were the reason that Roberts were making these bonehead moves and the Dodgers were not hitting with runners in scoring position.
Which is what I also wanted to get to. How many times did we talk about that? And
that was all year long. That was a problem all year long.
It never stopped. It never stopped. And that was the main reason, really, why they didn't win. They had plenty of opportunities to win pretty much all the games.
Yes, they did.
Except the last one. They did nothing in that game.
No, nothing.
But, they had plenty of guys on bases in that first game. And the second game, they had guys on. They had Price on the ropes a couple of times. And the third game that they won, they could have won it earlier than 18 innings.
Yes, they could.
And of course the 4-0 game, they really didn't do a whole lot, but once it was 4-0, and we knew the stat. When Puig hit that home run, I'm thinking, holy mackerel, this is going to be 2-2 for a second, but I never said it. And then once he took Hill out, which we were all shocked about, you know, I didn't mind that he brought Alexander in, but he walked the guy in 4 pitches and took him out. That's where we all hit the wall. Why is he bringing Ryan Madson in, who let all 5 of his inherited runners in the World Series score?
Right. It was very
late as the night before.
I mean,
right, guys?
Hill had a 1-hit shutout. He'd been pitching great. He was in the 7th inning. He walked the first batter and struck out the second. And here comes Roberts. I think it was a big mistake. And I don't care what anybody says. I think it changed the whole momentum of the game, which it did. And you got to remember, our bullpen was worn out, and Boston's bullpen was worn out. This was an 18-inning game they had. It was like a doubleheader. And, it was a doubleheader. It was 2 9-inning games.
Sure.
And, as long as Hill was coasting along, I would have left him in there because it would give our bullpen a little extra time to rest. And maybe we wouldn't have to use many. And
I know you're going to agree with me that first of all, when Madsen came in, and I said, oh no, he's out of his mind. You know, this is nothing but trouble. All right, he gives up the 3-run homer, and then Peter messages me that Jansen's warming up. And what's the first thing I said, Peter? No.
Right.
Don't do it again. Do not do the same thing you did last night.
Yeah.
Bring in Madsen to give up the inherited runners to score, and Jansen in the 8th to give up the tying home run. And he brings them in, and he did it again.
What's the definition of insanity, Bernie Rose?
Well, you're looking for different outcomes in the same events over and over again? Tell me.
Doing the same thing over and over, thinking that the results will be different.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty sad.
It was a very.
I read somewhere. Now I've gone over the videotape, and when Roberts comes to the mound, you cannot see his mouth. Okay. And Hill hands him the ball. When the game was over and they demanded to know, how could you take Hill out? Roberts said, when I got to the mound, he handed me the ball. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true. I see him hand him the ball, but you can't see Roberts' mouth. Roberts might have said, okay, big guy, we're going with Alexander here, or something like that. But after the game, he could have lied by omission, by simply saying, Hill handed me the ball. Now, if I was there in that room and I was the press guy asking that question, or it might have been a woman, if I were she, I would have followed up immediately by saying, yes, he handed you the ball. Did you ask him for the ball?
Right.
Did you talk to him, or did he just hand you the ball? Because there's going to come a time, mark my words, there's going to come a time. It might be a year from now. It might be 5 years from now. It might be 10 years from now at an old-timers game or whatever. Hill is going to come clean, and Hill is going to not only talk about being taken out of that game, Hill's going to talk about being taken out of last year's World Series game.
Absolutely.
That he never should have been taken out of. Okay.
He shouldn't have.
Hill is going to...
It was 2 years in a row.
As long as he stays alive, Rich Hill someday will either write a book or have an interview where he tells exactly what was said on the mound, and we're going to know who eats what then. And it'll be way too late. It'll be way too late, Bernie and Ronnie, because by that time, Roberts will have been gone. You know, if we're talking 5 years from now or 10 years from now, the Dodgers might be on their third new manager by then. It won't amount to a hill of beans, but an old-timer like Ron Rabinovitz and Peter Trunk and Bernie Rose will be able to message each other and say, see, I told you. He didn't want to come out of that game. Roberts took the ball from him.
Yeah. No. This team, in my opinion, was not as good as last year's team.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And I'm glad that they got there to the pennant and get to the World Series. But they had a lot of problems. And it's amazing they got as far as they did with the problems that they had. The statistic of leaving men on base in scoring position. That is a shock.
You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ronnie. And I'm going to say this. There was a section of the season where the Arizona Diamondbacks just couldn't win. They forgot how to win. They just lost every freaking night.
And they were hot as heck.
And then the Rockies couldn't beat Arizona all of a sudden. All of a sudden Arizona could beat only one team, and that was the Rockies. Right. And the Dodgers won a few games. And they finished in a flat-footed tie, and then in the 163rd game, of course, the Dodgers were victorious. The Giants stunk up the joint all season long, and forget about the San Diego Padres. Okay, the Dodgers won the division, but come on, they were half as good as the 2017 Dodgers.
Right,
absolutely,
right. Exactly.
Half as good.
Exactly.
You know, if you go back to the shows we did in spring training or early in the season, and one of the first things, I mean, we all said, but I know I said, can you believe they didn't get any hitters? They really got no hitters added to this roster. And it was shocking to me. You know, I mean, and you know, maybe you expected Peterson and Puig to improve even more than they did.
Wait a minute. Don't wait. Stop right there. Don't go forward from there. I remember you saying that, and I remember you mentioning what's the matter with getting J.D. Martinez.
Oh, yes.
That was your idea. Ernie Rose, that was your idea. Now, what did J.D. Martinez do this year? Not much. He had like 40 home runs, drove in 130, and hit 3-something. No big deal. We couldn't have used him.
I think he should be the MVP. They're saying Betts is going to win it, but I don't know. One of those two guys is winning it, but he was phenomenal. He showed last year how good he was going to be.
Yes, that's right.
And I, for one, the Dodgers saw it. They played those guys 19 times.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't pick them up until whenever they got him. But he was phenomenal. And they wouldn't have impressed the Dodgers at all last year. Go ahead, Ron.
Like they led the National League in home runs.
Yes.
But they didn't know how to play small ball.
At all.
And you know what?
No.
They didn't do such a great job of small ball last year either.
No.
There were many games.
But there was a difference. There was a difference last year. There was one of the huge differences last year was that they hit grand slam home runs. They hit 3-run homers. They hit 2-run bombs. This year, all they did, 77% of their home runs were solo jumps.
Or solos. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. I don't even know how that's even possible.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Amazing. It's the worst stat of all is that they were dead last with runners in scoring position and 2 outs in both leagues.
Yeah.
Now, how do you go to the World Series? And how do you win 92 games with a stat like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
So
I think there's
you got to give them some credit for getting there with
Yes,
all
of
these
course.
things that we're talking about.
Right.
You know, I asked the question last year at this time after the Dodgers came out of the 7-game series to the Houston Astros, losing in 7 games, and I
Which
asked,
they should have won.
Yeah, of course, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. He burned Morrow. He pitched Morrow all 7 games. He pitched Kenley Jansen when he was ahead 6-2. He burned everybody. Roberts burned everyone. He left Darvish in too long. He started Darvish when he should have started Kershaw. All that is water under the bridge. One of my questions to Bernie Rose and to you, and I guess to Fred Wallen at the time, after the series was over, I said, as a Dodgers fan, would you like to see your team in the World Series almost every year but never winning it? Or would you like to see them in the World Series like every decade but winning it? And if I remember correctly, no one really could give me an answer. I couldn't even give myself an answer. But when I walk my dog late at night during the season, last season and this season, I said to myself, all I want is for the Dodgers to make the World Series. Whatever happens in the World Series, fine. I just want to see them in the World Series. I don't want to see 2 schmuck teams in the World Series that I don't
give a shit about. It's been so many years.
And God forbid the Yankees are in the World Series.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I want to see the Dodgers in the World Series. Well, you know what? If there's a God, maybe he's playing with me. And he's saying, okay, Peter Trunk, I'll let your Dodgers be in the World Series as many times as I can. But they're not going to be winning it. I don't know. I
remember you asking that question.
Yeah.
And I kind of remember saying pretty much what you said. You know, I'd love to see them in there all the time. But I think if my memory serves me correct, I said, it's been a lot of years. I sure would like to see them win it one more time.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, you did.
That's right.
And so would we all.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's change the subject a little tiny bit, and let's talk about Clayton Kershaw.
Right. Well, I heard that he was
I want to know.
Stay with the Dodgers.
All right. We've all heard that.
He was supposed to make a decision by 9 o'clock tonight. Did anybody hear anything?
Yeah, it's supposed to be by midnight Eastern time.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes. So, 9 o'clock LA
out
time.
there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's going to make a decision. He probably already made his decision. I don't see it on any of the social network things, but I'm going to say 95%. The Dodgers are going to work a deal with him. They're going to lower his salary per year, and they're going to add years onto it. In other words, he's supposed to make $70 million in the next 2 years. The Dodgers will probably add another year or two to that at $25 million.
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, well, you know what? But there might be an opt-out on that. He might be able, if it's 2 years, he might be able to get out of it after one.
Which would actually be 3 years then.
Yeah, well,
because it would be,
Well, he's only 30 years old, so he could still make a lot of money on the free agent market at age 33, especially if he doesn't go completely down the drain. And who's to say that he will? Because he had a really nice year. He's just, he was injured and lost a bunch of starts. But come on, any pitcher in the league would give his eye teeth for a 2.76 ERA over 133 innings, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually
that's a hell of an ERA
high for him. But
well, you know something? That's high for him, but it's pretty damn low.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what is it? 4 straight years now he's been hurt, or is it just 3?
Yeah. Well, 3 or 4.
He's missed
I think
over 2
4.
months, 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And he certainly would have won the Cy Young Award, possibly not this year, but the last 2 years he could have had 5.
Right.
Yeah.
if not for getting hurt. And you have to take into consideration these back injuries have to be the reason why his fastball isn't 97 anymore.
Well,
I don't know what else it could be. He's only 30 years old.
Right. I read that Kershaw himself said, he stated to friends and family that he is confident that he can build himself back up this off season where he will be throwing much harder. Now he didn't say 97, but I'm sure what he means is it'll be higher than 90 or 91.
Right.
Because that's why he's giving up all these home runs.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
He's confident. He's confident that he can do that.
Yeah.
He's confident that.
Well,
he can
that's
do
nice to hear.
that.
Yeah.
Especially if he stays.
I think they're going to keep him. And I heard rumors that they're going after Eovaldi.
Yeah.
And possibly Jacob deGrom. And I also heard a big rumor.
Well, the Mets just got a new GM.
Right.
And he swears, the new GM swears on his first press conference that deGrom nor Syndergaard are going nowhere. They're staying in New York. And I think
DeGrom's a free agent?
DeGrom's
a free agent?
That I don't know.
No, I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. No, he's not.
I think it would have been a trade. And there's a lot of
and the strong rumor here on the East Coast, northeast coast, is Eovaldi's going to the Yankees.
Okay.
That wouldn't surprise.
And it was almost a lock before the postseason. It was almost a lock that the Yankees were going to get Machado.
Yeah.
And that they were going to pay him. They were going to pay him to forget shortstop, and he was going to become their third baseman when Didi Gregorius comes back. But after all the shenanigans he pulled, and is quoted as saying, "Hustling is not my game. Hustling is not my cup of tea." They have gone cold on Machado. So it's anybody's guess where Machado would go. But it was always the Phillies. It was always he was going to the Phillies with Harper. Harper and he were both going to the Phillies, and then that cooled off, and then all of a sudden Machado to the Yankees, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But then Machado spiked two guys at first base.
Right.
He said he didn't like the hustle; it wasn't his game, and all of a sudden the Yankees turned the cold water onto that. So you don't know. And now I hear that the Dodgers are actually going to make him an offer.
Really?
Really?
Yes. The Dodgers are going to make Machado an offer. Now, it might just be like a fake offer, so the front office can say we tried. You know.
Right.
It might be a lowball offer, like okay, we'll give you $100 million for 4 years, and he's not going to take that. So
if he would have done anything near what they got him for,
he didn't.
They could have at least made it a series, but he did nothing.
He did sip.
Yeah.
He did sip.
It was very interesting that some of our leading hitters were called in this World Series and in last year's World Series.
Yeah, well, something. As soon, you took the words right out of my mouth, Ronnie. As soon as somebody says the words World Series, Bellinger forgets how to hit.
Right.
He just forgets how to hit. He's going to break all kinds of records. If the Dodgers go to the World Series a couple of more times while he's still a Dodger, he's going to break every record in existence for futility.
Yeah.
Well,
striking out and hitting. He'll be hitting under 100.
I just don't know what happened to Turner's power. He hit like 350 in the series. I mean, you can't get him out. But
he had a good series.
Yeah, but at very key moments, they were getting him with the high fastball, which kind of was surprising me. And he just didn't seem to have the power that he had.
I hate to keep bringing up his hand injury, but come on.
Yeah.
I know he made some sort of a comeback from that. When he got hot, he started hitting home runs and doubles and stuff like that. But that's a very bad injury, man.
Yes, it is.
A very bad injury to a very delicate part of your body.
Absolutely.
You know, those
Another
little
thing
fragile bones, the little fragile bones by your knuckle and the back of your hands and your wrists and stuff.
Right.
That's very important in hitting. Very, very important in hitting. And
one thing we do need is catching. Boy,
Oh, God, you need a catcher.
We need a catcher.
That is for sure.
We need two catchers.
We need to cut both these guys loose.
Yeah.
I have something to tell you that I read yesterday.
What's
The agent for Riamalto, the catcher for Miami.
Yeah.
His agent made a Sherman statement. He said Riamalto will not catch another game for the Miami Marlins.
I heard that. I did hear that.
He's forcing the Marlins to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm Friedman and Zaidi, I'm on the phone right now. What do you need?
Right.
What do you need? What do you want?
Right.
That's the guy to get.
Oh,
somebody like him. Somebody like him.
Yeah, he's
Seager comes back healthy, and you got Real Muto behind the plate.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
And might as well pencil in Daniel Murphy at second base.
And you know,
that would make me happy.
With Seager too. I mean, coming off of those injuries, who knows how good he's going to be, or if he's going to be ready to go on spring training. It might be.
I know, but he's 23, so he should be. Hopefully ready to go.
Hopefully.
But Bernie, here's a guy. He's 23, true, but here's a guy where his body. He's a shortstop. He needed Tommy John surgery. Then he needed labrum surgery on his hip. You're talking like a 37-year-old shortstop.
Yeah, that shouldn't be. Yeah, you're right.
That not only a 37-year-old shortstop, but a 37-year-old shortstop that's been rumored to be taking PEDs. Those are the kind of injuries, especially the labrum injury to the hip. Those are the kind of injuries that guys that used to take steroids suffer from. Very strange.
Oh yeah, he's got to come
very
back.
Strange. And Ronnie Rabinovitz makes a very good point. Who's to say that right out of the gate he's going to set the world on fire?
Right.
True.
How do we know that in April and May he's going to be hitting 300 with power?
Yeah,
we don't know that.
We don't know. We don't know.
We have no clue.
There'll be plenty of us there. I mean, a whole year off.
So they're going to have to make a lot of moves in the off season.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a rumor that Bryce Harper is a done deal. That it was all signed, sealed, delivered before the World Series. I don't know if it's true.
I don't even know if that is true, Ronnie. I don't even know if I'm for that.
Well, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but that's what I heard.
Bryce Harper has a minus 16 on defense in right field this year.
Uh-huh.
All right, 16 runs allowed. In other words, another right fielder would have allowed 16 less runs. What did he hit? 220? 260?
He did not have a good
19?
year. He did not
have a terrible year.
Right.
And when he hits the ball to second base, he trots to first.
Yeah, he doesn't hustle.
He doesn't hustle.
Right.
He trots.
No. So if you were
like that,
to say,
if they made Machado an offer,
who would you say of the existing Dodgers won't be there next year? For whatever reason, whether
just Monty Grandal.
Well, Grandal's gone.
Sure, he's gone.
Sure.
Brian Madsen.
Oh yeah, he's
gone.
Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes maybe will stay. Well, I don't know about Ryu.
They don't seem to be interested in Ryu. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
haven't heard anything.
I like him
He's
too.
a free agent.
I don't know. Yeah. Will Puig
like
be there? Will Peterson be there?
That's a good question.
What are they going to do with tolls? You know, it's interesting. There's a lot
Time
of
to give Tolles a shot.
You know what?
Yeah.
Remember when we had Trace Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he set the league on fire for like 3 months. Then we had Tolles, and Tolles came up and set the league on fire for like 2 or 3 months. Then in between, sandwiched in between those two guys, or right after Tolles, we had Chris Taylor, and Chris Taylor could do no wrong.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, none of them could hit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with
that? Baseball is a game of adjustments.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So, Trace Thompson was doing great. Then all of a sudden, the league changed on him. They adjusted to him, and he couldn't readjust.
No, he couldn't.
I heard he was terrible.
Peterson is the only guy I know. Peterson is the only guy I know on the Dodgers that readjusted.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Because he came up with a big bang and everything, and then all of a sudden, they had his number. But then all of a sudden, he seemed to figure it out to a degree.
Yeah, he adjusted. Yeah,
he's doing better, but
that's right.
But you have to wonder, though, because it's just too many times in the postseason, and he's just another one of the guys with the 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Forget it.
I mean, you really think they're going to bring back Hernandez? Really? I mean, I know he hit 21 home runs, but most of them didn't mean anything, just like Grandal. And, I mean, no one in this league could have stranded more guys than Hernandez in critical situations. Nobody. Maybe Chris Taylor.
He was versatile. He was very versatile. Very versatile. And I think they like him. I think Roberts likes him.
I used to laugh. I would leave my house. This is during the summer, regular season. I would leave my house and I would take my dog over to the doggy park late at night, like 11 o'clock. Remember, I live in the New York area, so it's only 9 o'clock out there in L.A. And I would leave. I'd bring my dog to the park, and I'd have my phone with me, and I'd be not only listening to ESPN radio for the game, but I would be texting Bernie Rose, and the Dodgers would get a walk. Then the next guy would hit a double, and they'd be second and third. Okay, and Taylor would be due up. It didn't matter. Taylor would be due up. Taylor would be coming up to the plate, and Bernie would say, "Oh fuck, forget about it." Not only isn't he going to drive anybody in, he's not even going to put the ball in play. He's going to strike out. Right. And sure enough, strike one, strike two, and then he'd be called out on strikes.
Yeah.
And it used to make me laugh, but it made me angry too at the same time. So I was laughing and angry simultaneously all summer long.
All summer long.
Taylor's
and with all these guys, all of them, nobody could have been worse than Yasmani Grandal, except for the month of July. That one month.
Not only in hitting, but catching. Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him there.
Oh, my God.
Couldn't even catch the ball.
He was a pretty good catcher. I don't know what happened to him. Just horrible. How many balls got behind him?
Oh, boy.
You know, terrible.
I mean, so pretty much what it came down to was and I'll even include Peterson into this, although he ended up hitting about 270, so he did make somewhat of a comeback. But in critical situations, if Taylor, Grandal, Hernandez, or Peterson was coming up to the plate, I could
Or Bellinger.
For a good part of the season, and even Puig for a while. But I'll give him a pass because somehow he seems to still get better. And he hits in the World Series, I'll say that.
He does.
But I could turn the TV off and go to bed and know that nothing happened.
Right.
Because I didn't have to wait to watch it. It was horrible.
I used to like when there was a guy at second with 2 outs, and Ryu was coming up. I used to say, I have more confidence in Ryu than I do in any other Dodger except for Turner.
Yes.
And sure enough, Ryu would hit a line drive to right center field and score a run.
Yeah. Right.
And the big fat slob would be standing at first base smiling, 255-pound Korean guy standing there smiling and shit. And I'd be going, holy Christ, he should be a DH. You know, if the Dodgers were in the American League, they should DH the guy. What did he hit, like 240? He hit like 240, 245. You got to look it up. The guy's good.
For a pitcher.
I can
for
hit.
A pitcher, that's big.
He can hit, man.
That's right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, he does.
Great.
He is.
It was great.
He's got a good stroke.
And
the piece de resistance on the whole thing is in this last game when it's 2-1, the Dodgers are only down by a run, and Martinez loses the ball in the lights. So Freese is standing on third base with one out, and it just so happens the greatest Dodger hitter in the last 5 years is up, and Turner does not get it done when normally he would, and so now it's 2 outs, and there's your stat. You knew the next guy wasn't getting it done, so it just right down to the end with runners at scoring position, and especially with 2 outs, they didn't get it done.
Nope.
So you can't really argue the fact that they didn't win the World Series because with that stat, that they never were going to win the World Series.
It was amazing they got there with that stat. It's
Exactly.
amazing they got there. Yeah.
You know, some people say not the 91-year-old version of Tommy Lasorda. And before I get into this, I was never a Tommy Lasorda guy. I was never a Tommy Lasorda fan. I thought he was a blowhole. I thought he was a bullshitter. I thought he was a braggart. I thought he was he's just everything that a man shouldn't be. All he did was blow his own horn all those years. But I'm going to tell you something right now. A Tommy Lasorda in his prime, the Dodgers win both of these World Series.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
2017 and 2018.
He was very tremendous that way as a motivator. He was good. I mean, look what he did that year as the USA team that he took.
Imagine the front office trying to tell him when to take a pitcher out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. That's right.
He'd have punched him right in the nose. You
Exactly.
know, I love Tommy. I did.
Yeah,
you know, and some of the things you said about him were true. I'm sure you read his book. I read his book years ago. You know, he was when he was younger, he was a little out of control, and you know, he was who he was.
Egotistical.
But I love the fact that nobody loved the Dodgers more than Tom Lasorda.
No, right. You're right.
And I love the fact that he always said he bleeds Dodger blue. You know, that rang right through me, you know. I used to say, I bleed Dodger blue too, you know. I love
if you read other books, though, about him, not his book, but other books that mention him, he was signed, sealed, and delivered as the Yankee manager by Steinbrenner. And something fell through at the last minute. Fred Clare's book. Read Fred Clare's book. And that's when all of a sudden Tommy Lasorda bled Dodger blue.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I did read his book.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
He and Steinbrenner had a handshake agreement and everything. He was going to manage the Yankees after one of those World Series, whether it was 77, 78, or even 81, I forget. I don't know. But it fell through. And when Tommy finally did leave because he had a bad heart, and the doctor told him, you know what, you're going to die in the dugout. That's what he told him. He said, you're going to die in the dugout. And he gave way to, I think it was Russell. Was it Bill Russell?
Yes, Billy Russell.
Russell, yeah.
He undermined Bill Russell so much that Bill Russell didn't talk to him for 10, 15 years, wouldn't speak to him, wouldn't look him in the face, wouldn't walk past his office, would go down a floor or up a floor to pass Lasorda's office so he wouldn't have to even look at him.
Yeah.
That's how bad. That's how bad Lasorda mouthed behind his back. Now, do I think Bill Russell was a great manager? No.
No.
But Tommy Lasorda should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, I don't know that I was really up on all that.
Yeah, well, you got to read all the books. You can't read one or two. You got to read like 6 or 9 or whatever you can get your hands on.
Was no bargain either.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
That Grady Little was no bargain either.
No, he wasn't.
No,
he wasn't.
Yeah.
And
but I was just talking. It's really about all what was on the field. And I used to go to Vero Beach all the time for some spring training games, and I'd be yelling, Tommy, I love the fact that he was the Dodger,
I just gave him a big compliment 5 minutes ago. I said if he was in his prime and he was the Dodger manager, they would have won in 2017. I'm pretty sure they would have won in 20.
Right.
I know they would have won in 2017.
Right.
And they probably playing Game 6 right now, as we speak, or Game 7 now.
Right. That's right.
If Tommy was the manager, because Tommy, if somebody called the dugout and said, "Okay, you take Hill out, you bring in Alexander for the left-hander, and then you bring in Madsen," he would have said, "Go fuck yourself."
To go jump. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Would have. That's right.
Stuff it, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the good thing about him.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about him.
That's right.
That's what he would have told him.
Yeah.
Anyway, there it is. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, it'll be a long winter again, as we love baseball, and I think it's going to be. I think it's 109 days till pitchers and catchers report, and that's how
I wrote. We have a little group messaging thing, and sometimes you guys, and I'm going to say it right on the air. Sometimes you guys, when you go to that group message, you read the last message that someone wrote. You don't go back a ways and see like the 5 or 6 or 7 messages that came before that message.
Right.
And I wrote a message on there when the World Series was over. I wrote 108 days to pitchers and catchers and Yasmani Grandal.
I didn't see that.
I don't think
Go back and look for it. It's right there. It's right on our messages.
Well, boys,
I can't go through another season like this. That's what
okay. Listen,
this was tough.
Before we say goodnight, here it is. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, Kershaw will be there next year, and Roberts will be the manager next year. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Ernie?
Points.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to get that out in the open before we get off the air. Roberts will be, not that we're in favor of this, we're just saying it. Roberts will be the manager, and Kershaw will be on the pitching staff.
Kershaw will be a Dodger. Right.
Yes, he will.
Yes,
I agree.
That's it.
Both of them.
All right.
I'm just
Bernie, any closing?
The moves. I'm looking forward to seeing some moves. They've got to make some moves. Some player personnel has to move. Not everybody, but they've got to bring in. They've got to get a couple of hitters in that lineup. And then now they're going to have to do some pitchers too, because there's free agents. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. So we're not going to see the same team next year.
No.
Right, guys?
I'll tell you what you do. I'll tell you what you do for us, Bernie. As these moves come to pass, whether they're small, medium, or large, keep abreast of them, make notes about them, so the next time you come on, we can discuss all of them, and we'll know who went where, who didn't go, who got how much money, who didn't go, who's staying, who's leaving, all that stuff.
That'd be great.
It'll make for a very, very good show. Now, I don't think we can have a show with every single move they make, because if they make 11 moves, we're not going to go on the air talking about the 2019 Dodgers before the season with every single move they make. But just keep a little record. And after they make 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, and if one of them is monumental or whatever, we'll get back together. We'll put our heads together. We'll do another show. Ronnie, what we have to incorporate for the first time in a very long time, starting with our next show, is we have to put in a lot of Brooklyn stuff. I'm asking you to be prepared to have some Brooklyn Dodger facts and figures and stories and
I'll do the best
anecdotes and stuff when we get back. So we go through the winter. Remember, it's a tale of two cities, not just Los Angeles. We have to do Brooklyn too. All right?
Right.
And Bernie, whenever you feel the mood and you have to get something off your chest and it's important, just let me know and we'll get you back on here.
That's great. I appreciate it, and I will do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for Company Zone Radio, this is the Dodgers, Tale of Two Cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, and Ronnie Rabinovitz and Peter Trunk and our guest Bernie Rose saying good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Good night.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.